Fisherman magazine, and I'm here with Eileen Sobeck, the new director of the National Marine Fisheries Service. And so Eileen, I'd just like to ask you a couple of quick questions today. For starters, you just started the job about a month ago. So can you give us a little background, a little bit about your background and how you came to this position?
Yes, thank you for having me today. I've got 35 years of experience in natural resources management, enforcement, and litigation at the federal level. I started out at NOAA, so I'm coming back to my my home agency. Started in the late 70s as a lawyer at NOAA Office of General Counsel. I moved on to 25 years at the Justice Department, where I focused on environmental litigation throughout the federal government, including fisheries and protected resources work. And then most recently, I've been at the Department of the Interior, where I worked with the Fish and Wildlife Service and the National Park Service on a variety of fish, wildlife, and natural resources issues.
Great, that's quite a CV. So can you tell us, coming into this new position, what your top priorities are for the big picture? You can go by region or at the federal level.
Well, my top priorities are to build on our successes. We actually have an incredibly vibrant fishing industry that we should be very proud of, that we, in terms of landings and dollar values, there have been some incredible successes the last few years, and we need to make sure that that gets out to the public and that we focus on on fisheries that are less successful, and make sure that, based on sound science, based on the conservation needs to protect the resources, within those constraints and information, that we help promote the industry in a sustainable fashion. So that's the fisheries side of the house. The other side of our responsibilities is for protected marine resources, whales, dolphins, sea turtles, and some fish like Atlantic salmon, Pacific salmon. And we need to protect those resources and get them healthy so that they aren't constraining some of our other activities. I think we can do both of those priorities, and that's my job. And I'm looking forward to the challenges.
Great. So one of the big challenges coming up in the next year is reauthorizing the Magnuson-Stevens Act, which is the federal level fishery legislation. And I know one of the big pushes this year is implementing some sort of flexibility for council management, where they're right now being constrained by the 10-year rebuilding timeline for certain fisheries that aren't responding to that 10-year rebuilding timeline. So how do you feel about building some flexibility into the Magnuson Act to give the fishery management councils some leeway with the way that they're managing fisheries to sustain economic and infrastructure in the fishing communities?
I actually think that there's a lot of flexibility within the existing Magnuson-Stevens Act. I don't think that we have taken full advantage of it, and I think that we need to continue to explore that. I think that under the last round of MSA amendments, there's been a tremendous amount of progress in reducing the number of stocks that are overfished and eliminating overfishing. And I think we, again, need to give the statute the credit for those successes, and now we need to focus on those fisheries that still are overfished and still need help, and see how we can do that within the existing parameters of the current act. We're looking at our regulatory flexibility to address some of the issues that have been articulated by some folks who are interested in amendments to the act. We're gonna look at that balance, and to the extent that there's an actual need for tweaks to the act, I think that we'll be able to judge that during the course of the next few months and years, however long it takes for reauthorization. But we're starting from the premise that we have a lot of flexibility, and we're going to really look hard at how to do that to implement it to its fullest, to the maximum extent practicable. Thanks.
Okay. Great. Thank you so much, Eileen. Thanks for joining us today.
You're welcome.